Evening, everyone. I'm just finishing a coffee, much needed. More Grand Tour coffee required. Must get my subs in with the guys at Grand Tour Coffee. I want to say a big thank you to Ben and the team over there. Don't forget, of course, if you're part of the supporters club, discount code for Grand Tour Coffee, and that is out on the email that comes to you every time we've got a ride as a reminder, and also on the one that gives you all the links before anybody else. So don't forget, make sure you get your coffee in. You're going to need it tonight. We're down on the seaside for Beach Island Loop. Brand new route for the DONNYCHAINGANG, and I have to be honest, it's going to be very entertaining to see whether this works. It's going to take some tight control. We're going to need everybody to stay really close together to start off with, because we're going to head out uphill. And that's going to make things very interesting indeed. So we're going to head out uphill and then out and around the circuit. It could be bumpy, it could be quick, it's going to be a fast lap. I know Russ has been out doing a recon, so let's have a chat with Russ. His recon's been done a little bit more recently than mine, so let's see if Russ is there. How are you doing, Russ?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, really good.
And you've been out doing a recon of the circuit, I understand.
Yeah, rather where you are, though, sat there looking all cool, drinking coffee, but yeah, just done a. It's like the phone never stopped ringing, so I had to keep going.
Well, I got mine in early, it has to be said. I was out doing the recon for it over the past few days. It was interesting route. I think it's going to be very interesting to see just how long you can hold this together, to be honest, mate, because if Tuesday was anything to go by, it's going to be rapid. I think most people haven't yet recovered.
Yeah, I think I'm in that not recovered box as well, it's just, and then I jumped online last night with Altaf and his boys, and they kicked my head in as well, so Tuesday and Wednesday, to go easy on Thursday, please, and joking apart, I thought this was a flatter route, I've not done it before, I'd seen it, and just done a recon, and it's not flat, but it'd be good fun.
Some little bumps, some little drags, some power sort of climbs that you can stomp over. It's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top, but we are going to need it to start off pretty slow tonight, and that's what it didn't do on Tuesday, did it? It went out from the gun, and the idea is for it to ramp up, isn't it?
To be honest, I think Tuesday's just a blur. It was just like, it was like, heads down, arse up, as they say.
I think everybody wanted to get out for pancakes, never mind ice creams.
Exactly, that's why we're downtown today, and I thought everyone missing the seaside and a bit of the fun and holidays and all that. So give a bit of feel good factor on the gang. But I don't think we'll be saying that 25 minutes in after the first lap. Just took me 25 minutes, but I'm sure we're going to be around 20, 21 minutes or something. Awesome.
Yep, going to be pretty rapid, I think, and it looks to me like everybody is in. Our red beacon has just arrived. I've just seen the nice big red pillar arrive up in the distance, which is always good to see. So looks like everybody is here, present and correct. I'm just going to take a little bit of a look at them in a minute, but it looks like everybody's here. We've got quite a large number of riders. I think it was well over 300 again.
Yeah, I think I saw 315 just as I quickly logged out of the Wi-Fi to log back on again, and it should be fun.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we are going to have a little bit of a change of a red beacon. I know on our graphics it's going to come up with something slightly different, but I think Andy Hawes has done such a good job of being red beacon, he's ended up with red again.
Well, that sounds good fun.
Yeah, he did a good job last time.
I say, if you do a good job, you might as well just stay there, Andy. Everyone really likes your little groups that you form. So do a rubbish job and you won't get the job again. So chap out.
Love it. Right, let's show everybody where they're going. I'm going to let you get warmed up properly and make sure those legs are running.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, buddy. So thank you very much to Russ. He is going to have to get those legs spinning out and get those up to speed. Now down here in the studio, we're quite lucky because of course we've got to have the air condition on. It drops the temperature down because we've got so many PCs running out and around the studio that we actually do need to keep the temperature down. It soon heats up in here, but that could just be all the hot air I tend to spout, but we'll see. Right. Let's take a little bit of a look at the course. I'm just looking on our monitors here. Looks like everybody is starting to assemble. Remember, you're only going to see 100 riders on screen at a time, and this is why we need everybody to stay together, because it's going to get very interesting indeed. Now, looks to me like, first of all, let's introduce our beacons. Our yellow beacon is going to be Russ Downing. It looks like Andy Hawes has inherited the red beacon for some reason, which is quite entertaining. So it looks like a glitch in the system means that Andy is going to get his legs torn off at the back. Good job. We know he's going to do a great job anyway. And he's got a great course to do it on. So we come out of the chevron start. So from the start line, we come round and underneath the archway, under the beach island loop. We come in towards the climb, that long climb up that takes you in theory to the Essex, but we do the right hand turn over the glass bridge and then run through the volcano, drop down off the edge of the volcano to the little spit of land, the little causeway across that brings you up towards Italian Villas, and that is quite a nasty little drag up there. We then come in through the sprint line with an immediate right-hand turn on one of the new roads on Swift that brings you out underneath the A-frame bridge, and then you come back down down towards the long sweeping turns. They're kind of like a long Yui hot dog turn, as Martin McDonald would say on the cross commentary, which takes you then round into the tunnels, and you do the long loop into the tunnels. So it is an anti-clockwise loop. It's 12.8k each loop. We're going to do it 3 times. We're going to finish at the Watopia banner, and then there is a 1.6k warm down. Now, we talk about those lumps and bumps, and if you are looking at the map courtesy of Swift Hacks, you can see that it doesn't look that bumpy, but let's get some better detail in on the profile courtesy of VelaViewer, and here we are with VelaViewer. As you can see, actually, there are some big rises. Now, no big reds or blues, no really dark colours on there, because that is quite simply because nothing is too steep. However, it is really, really important. If you come off from the start, we're going to go around anti-clockwise up to 1k, it's uphill. And that is going to be very entertaining because it could drag strip everything out. From the 1k mark, we then traverse round over the bridge, round through the volcano, a little bit of a kick until we drop down. So just after 3k, we've got a little hairpin drop down onto the beachfront, and then through 4 and into 5k, it's pretty much flat. Climb at 5k up in towards the villas, which the sprint line is about 6k. We then cut across on a drag across towards the section with the long run down through and into the tunnels, and you can see the tunnels starting at about 9.5 kilometers, running around through 11.5, and then climbing back up to 12k, and then the run down into the start line. So critical today for our riders to remember to keep it all together, and it is really important that they keep it nailed together today. If it doesn't happen, it is going to be very tricky indeed. Now, remember, if you're watching live, there's only a slight delay, about 8 seconds or so. We will be covering from the yellow beacon back, and that is going to be so that we can see just who is doing what out on the course. So let's take a little look with the guys out and live at the moment. And as you can see, it looks at the moment and like the guys are rolling along pretty well. Let's jump in with some of our regulars. Let's go in with Ewan McLeod from the Canyon DHB Sungood squad, who is in the middle of the pack here. Now remember, Ewan, of course, one of our regular riders in the gang, and it certainly looks to me like it is going to be an interesting run out. As you can see here, we're going to be making our way out towards the big glass bridge that runs across towards the volcano. The volcano steaming well in the distance. And if we take a little bit of a run back, you just see just rolling off from the back of circuit, just jumping in with Daryl at the moment, who's just making his way. There are one or two riders still fighting to get themselves back into position and into the group at the back, and as you can see, one or two dropouts, and it's going to be a little bit interesting at the moment as our riders get themselves back together again. So if you're looking at the screen, remember guys that we are going to head out and round. Top right hand side of the screen, if we give it a little bit of a flick on the map, we have our 2D close-up, our 2D long view, our shot in from the distance. You can see the yellow beacon always shows up so long as you're near enough to it, and remember the aim here is to ride with or behind the yellow beacon, please guys. So at the moment on the way up to the right hand turn, so let's dive in with the gang live here on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. So here we go, you can just see the gang, just about most people managing to do the right hand turn at the right time, and the drone camera just going to move around the side here. And as you can see, remember we are aiming to stay alongside or near our yellow beacon. The aim here is to roll round initially at about 2 watts per kilo to let the blob settle its way down. Our members of the DCG gang, they all know the score, and a big welcome to Tristan Entage, the latest rider to join the gang, and of course now getting an entry into the draw for the National Champs jersey, which is the Ineos jersey as won by Ben Swift. His very own jersey is going to be coming out to the rider who has their number drawn each member's month. More coffee required. Each member's month that they're a member of the DCG gang, the DONNYCHAINGANG supporters club, gets them one entry into the draw, and the aim is that we will be drawing that just after the first week in March, and the aim will be that we are going to pull from our riders one number, and one rider will be getting Ben Swift's genuine National Champs jersey framed and ready to put up on the wall, and that will be happening live probably going to be around about the 8th of March. But you need to have your month in, and you have to have your membership in with the DCG gang, and that is going to have to happen before the end of February. So it looks like minor tech issues for the guys out on the course for one or two of our riders, and as you can see the blob around Russ looking good, and just keeping an eye on these riders. It is pretty chocker in the pack. Good to see Rob Kennison back in with us, Mr. Rapinski in the gang as well. Looks like we've got Ailey Gilbert back with us. We've got to watch out for Ailey, one of the fast riders on the chain gang, and good to see Ailey back in again. Looks like Altaf Hussein is in here, Sam Emsley in the group. Remember, of course, we're going to be hunting for our members of the DCG gang, and remember, of course, all of our DCG gang members, well, they get the details of the routes first, and they get all the links first. They get the previews, they get all the links to the Swift Insider articles, of course a little bit of preview from myself and Matt Payne, and of course they get those details of all of the giveaways, of all of the key bits of information like discount codes for some great suppliers, from Pretty Gritty right through to Grand Tour Coffee, Talk. Of course, not on board yet, but we do have OTE, one of the most popular out there, and got to say, it's really good to get hold of some OTE products, to have another try some different stuff. There are one or two things coming your way. I can't tell you what they are, but they are looking really amazing, and got a little bit of a heads up on that early on, which is great to see. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots of great products heading your way. We've got lots more in March as well. So if you are a member and you've got a membership for February, then please remember, guys, you're going to need to get it renewed before we get into the end of February for March. Otherwise, you won't be able to cash in on those discounts and save yourselves a load of money on a whole load of great kit. So just keeping an eye on the riders. We're just in with Jimmy Allen at the moment. Now, Jimmy Allen, from the Stellaton, the man in charge of Stellaton spin-off, the DCG spin-off on the Saturdays, a great ride leader, and stand-in for Russ on occasion when Russ is out. Good to see Russ, of course, just trying to hold the troops together. We're just going to jump in to a returning rider here, because we're going in with Victoria Chivari. Good to have you back with us, Victoria. I know Vic won't mind me saying that she's not been able to join in the gang recently, but good to have Vic back, and Vic riding alongside, I think it's going to be Emma Payne there on the green Swift concept bike, and Miss Cookie on a wheel as well on the blue camo kit. And these guys already ticking along nicely out by our beacon at the back. And it looks like Andy Hawes has well and truly adopted that. Thank you very much, Andy. Apologies that you've ended up with the beacon once again. We will go do some hair bashing it over at Zwift as we've dropped down now onto the causeway. And remember, of course, the ride as far as we're concerned, from the red beacon to the yellow beacon. Anybody who rides off the front, well, to use a well-known phrase and saying, dead men walking. So in with Andy, 200 or so watts, so just keeping a look, and nicely riding along nice and smoothly there. It looks like Emma's in there. Miss Cookie is in the mix now. Miss Cookie is riding in the brand new pain cave that they've had built on this side outside the house. Rumours that it's big enough to put Ethan in and he's going to move in aren't quite true, but good to see these riders keeping it nicely together, and already seeing a big gang forming up at the back there with the volcano in the distance. The riders, you can just see the glass bridge that they come across, the volcano smoking and smouldering away, hopefully not going to erupt whilst we're on our way around and through it. Meanwhile, you can see in front the road is going to climb. We go through underneath the little bridge on the outskirts of the Italian villas, and then up onto the climb we'll go. And once we go up onto the climb, it will then zigzag its way up. We're going to take a left-hand turn through onto the cobbles, and a bit reminiscent of the gang out on the stage of the Pretty Gritty Week when we were out riding around the jungles in the Mayan jungle, and the dust certainly kicking up. We're going to get our camera just slightly out a little bit here, just so that we can see the riders on the way up this climb. And at the moment, looks like everybody back together again. Sonia Inslee in here, another member of the gang, and good to see Chris Heseltine James has hopefully recovered from his mental ride, going out on a fasted ride. Absolute lunacy, mate. Fuel yourself up properly, make sure you get it done. Never mind any of this fasting rubbish. Matt's golden rules. These are the golden rules according to Matt. Ride lots, eat lots, sleep lots. You'll go quick. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a look at a rider at the back here. This is the little legend that is Ruby Isaac. Ruby joining the gang for the first time. Good to have you in on the gang, Ruby. And Ruby Isaac, of course, notorious for being able to do many things, including make pancakes whilst on the bike. Yes, we saw the video whilst riding on the rollers, and Ruby just pushing on into the back of the group there. So good to see Ruby in action, and another of our new riders. Got Caroline Mansfield in the group. Caroline, of course, one of our key supporters with Pretty Gritty, and Caroline in the group looking good. Dave Micklethwaite is in here. I'm sure I've just seen him head in and through. And we're going to just jump in with Row Phil. Phil sent a message just at the start of the chain gang, and that was about the t-shirt. Yep, definitely. 853, steel is real, mate. And got to say a big thank you over to Tim Bonnet and the guys at Bike Ninja, and Tim, a long-time supporter of myself, Matt Payne, and a lot of the mountain bike crew as well. And I want to say a big thank you to him. So thank you very much, Tim, and of course make sure you get yourselves onto the website. The guys who support the gang, they're the guys that give us the discount codes and the giveaway. So Pretty Gritty key supporters in February, and a fantastic giveaway, and it's been great watching all of the pictures. If you haven't seen them, then make sure that the guys who are supporting the gang are the guys that you're supporting. So Pretty Gritty with a fantastic giveaway, some great pictures of the kit, and Nick Dorsey I think wins the best dressed rider, matching his hat to the t-shirt from Pretty Gritty, which had the world stripes, which is the, of course, the stripes for world warming, so the climate warming stripes are there. Now just watching Phil on his way through here, and Phil just making his way up across this little traversing road. It's going to be a right hand turn again, so this pushes across, and going to be heading across and down this little slope, which takes our riders down in towards the section down from the Italian Village. So you drop down, you've got this little rise, then we're going to take the left hand fork and down into the tunnels. So we're going to take the left hand dive off. You see our riders are just moving over and across to the left hand side of the road. Look, just seen John Catley in there, and then Sam Emsley. Good to see Matt Gilmore in there. Matt, your headband is going in the post tomorrow. Yeah, and good to see that Matt is in there. Matt, of course, getting that for telling everybody exactly what they needed to do on the way through, as we managed to find Caroline in this bunch somewhere. Here's Caroline. So Caroline, head honcho of Pretty Gritty, riding in the group. We will get a shot here. So taking a little look, and looks very smooth indeed. We're just going to drop through some of these groups. Matt Winston in here, of course, one of the key DSs working the way on the continental scene. Just keeping an eye. Tim Cooper in here, and looks like Tim on his way out and around circuit, and a regular rider on the chain gang as well. Looks like Carl Kapinski in here. Don't forget, of course, Carl, one of our key supporters of the chain gang and a key supporter of the Donny Chain Gang, and the Don't Poke the Bear t-shirt. So Carl riding in that lamprey inspired pink and blue jersey there, and looks to be well ensconced in with the yellow jersey, the yellow beacon bunch there, so sitting nicely in with the gang. So looks like he's nicely working well, sat in the bunch, just watching these riders on the way through. I think Jess Evans in this group as well, and Jess, of course, one of our key riders when we're going up the climbs on Tuesday. We're going to see how she gets on this. It is a very fast route, this, if it is ridden right, so going faster and faster and faster. That is absolutely critical for these guys as they're out and making the way down from the Italian Village. Just going to take our drone camera up over the pillars here so we don't get wiped out on the way past. And as you can see, having made our way across and around the side of the village, we're now dropping down, and I'm going to be heading down towards the beach front, and that is going to take us down into the tunnels. This bunch around Russ moving well, and certainly ticking along. Looks like Nick Dorsey sat in this bunch as well. Colin Bell in here, Sonia Ainsley we've seen, Gary Licence is in here. Looks like Berry in this group. Everybody moving well, but now in and on to the wooden boarding that takes us in and along, and looks like that boarding is certainly holding our riders together. Nobody being too silly going off the front. Well, if they are, we can't see them, we don't care, leave them to it. Right, keeping a check on the riders as they come around. Just seeing Russ in there on that yellow and black Dogma, making his way in and through. Booth near the back of this group. We're going to try and cut back to our beacon, which looks like Andy Hall's inherited, whether he likes it or not. It's a good job. Andy's a good sport, it has to be said. Let's see if we can get Andy up on the screen. Always an interesting moment when you can't go back to the person you want. Let's see if we can go back to Rafferty and then drop back some more. So just in with Rafferty at the moment. We're going to work our way down to Andy, who has a really good group around him here. So Andy Halls, Vic Chavaria, Ruby Isaacs, Emma Payne, all around Andy Halls there. Just taking a little bit of a look. Looks like Chris Heseltine James is in there as well. Looks like Taylor in there. Fox is in there. That's Lisa Jane Late. Lisa, of course, another of our fantastic members of the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, the DCG gang. And Lisa moving well. So we've got Lisa in the camo kit on the yellow Tron bike. On the front at the moment is Victoria Chavaria. Then we've got Chris Heseltine James on the Sevilla with the multicolour kit. We've also got Taylor in the brown camo. We've got Ruby Isaacs in the orange Zwift kit. And we've got Emma Payne in the multicolour camo kit in the yellowy green Zwift concept bike. And the man on the back, riding on the Pinarello, what else would Andy Hawes be riding on, making it look good as always. Andy Hawes doing the red beacon, and fortunately didn't change the colour of the bike as he's made his way down. The guys are looking very, very smooth. This group at the back would look to be working reasonably well together. One or two riders just pushing on there. I think they're going to pick up Rini. That's going to be the next rider. We can just see just down in front. This is Rini in front, and Rini's going to see that group come in. We always say, if in doubt, if you get dropped from a group, unless you are feeling particularly strong, the key thing to do is to wait for the group coming behind. That red beacon will come and sweep you up. It's in very capable hands with Andy Hawes in there. Time for some more OTE for me. So we're going to keep keeping track of these riders coming through as Rini is caught here as we go in under the tunnel. So through underneath the tunnels they go, and moving up nicely here. I think Emma is just going to go back for Ruby Isaacs by the look of it. It looks like Chris is going back. Just going to keep an eye on them, and Ruby Isaacs just being distanced a little bit. Who's heading back here? Yeah, it looks like Chris and Emma dropping back here for Ruby, and Ruby not all that far behind. Hopefully not having a drop out, because if she has, she'll be dropping off their screens. Looks like Ruby with a full on drop out there, so that's going to cause a little bit of a problem for Chris. Yep, so if Chris and Emma are watching, time to pick the pace up, guys, because guess what? Ruby has got a drop out and disappeared from the gang, and looks like the guys in front have started to push on. So yeah, Chris, because riding from Rotherham and Mansfield, not all that far, so this is time for Chris and Emma to ride up. They haven't ridden together since they were last out at Show of Pine, so they've got to make a two-up time trial. Going for Andy. Andy, you're about to get company as the guys push on. Meanwhile, we're just in with Coleman now. Dan Coleman is one of our superstars of the Chain Gang. Dan is a regular rider at the front. He's a really fast rider. He's aggressive enough and fast enough to be one of the riders flying off the front. However, he isn't. What he does, he goes back, he helps the riders when he's feeling strong, he helps the riders at the back and keeping on moving through. And good to see Dan sitting in with this group, and Dan is going to probably no doubt go back and help these riders onwards. Let's jump in with Hayward, because I think Hayward is going to be the next of the riders who's going to be seeing this gang coming along at some pace. The yellow beacon just on the climb up, and making his way up. It looks like Andy Singleton, and not too far up the road as well. So just taking a little look. Andy, of course, with a birthday on Tuesday. I don't know whether he's recovered. Andy, have you recovered from your birthday on Tuesday? He was a big 6-0. And Andy Singleton, of course, birthday boy then. Now no longer. But looks like he's still doing a little bit of recovery from that birthday. Meanwhile, Miss Cookie is just in front. Then it's going to be Matt Bostock, the next rider up the road. It looks like Matt on the chase back here. Matt riding for the team here. It's the Canyon DHB Blowhomes team, and just going past Alex Forrester just behind there. Not sure what Alex is doing off the back there, just trying to get himself a workout by the look of it. Don't forget, of course, Alex here on the basic kit and the basic bike. He's going to be working really hard on that, because he hasn't ridden enough to get better kit and better bike. He doesn't go as quick. He has to work harder to travel the distance at the same speed. It's how it works, guys. If you have a better bike, if you have better wheels, you will go quicker. All of the kit is in there. Make sure you read the Zwift Insider details on the websites. The more you ride, the better you will go, because you will get better kit. It's really simple. And that's how it works. Now, let's take a little bit of a check out here, just in with Bennett from the Sheffield Tri Squad here. So Bennett is moving well. Looks like Caroline Mansfield just moving up here. Pretty gritty CEO on her way up in and sitting in this bunch nicely, holding the wheels well. And good to see Caroline back on here. Of course, Pretty Gritty, one of our key supporters of the Chain Gang in February. And just in front, I think we've got Sonia Inslee just sitting on the wheels of Crosscast Neil. And I'm going to try and jump in with Neil. Here we go. So Neil, of course, my co-host on the Crosscast, and we recorded the very last Crosscast for the 2021 season. That is out now. Make sure that you get it, download it. It is last of the podcast from the Crosscast team for this season, and that is going out on all the usual places you can get a podcast. It's out on Spotify, on iTunes, it's out there on Google Apps, you name it, you can get it. Basically, get yourselves on, give us a follow, make sure you follow Crosscast on the Twitter as well, and of course Crosscast Neil, my host, co-host on the Crosscast, and myself, wrapping up all of the action on our Crosscast, which is now out and launched, and reviewing the details of the season, and of course a little bit of a preview of what's coming up next season if it all goes to plan. And that's a whole different subject altogether, one of which of course we cover in our usual depth, breadth, and with a little bit of humour somewhere along the lines. Right, let's just drop back to Mr. Halls, because it looks like Russ is doing a really good job here of holding the pace in that yellow group altogether. That yellow beacon group is rolling nicely, really smooth, and that is what we want. The whole point of this is it ramps up. If you are disappearing away from the yellow beacon, you're on the wrong ride. You need to disappear, don't come back until you've learned what riding with yellow is. You'll tick it in a tick box. When you join the ride, it says if you are a joiner ride and you register normally, I agree to stay with or behind the yellow beacon until the go. If you don't realise, we actually have people watching in front of us. They are really simple. They look at you, we watch you, we know who you are. It's really simple. If you think you're doing it and are not known to us, you are. We know exactly who you are. Not only that, so do all the people that we're in contact with, and so do all the team managers, and so do all the prospective people who you might want to sign for in the future. Definitely Big Brother and my Big Brother and a lot of other people are keeping an eye. So remember guys, stay with yellow. Stay with yellow. It's really simple. We're going to get it tattooed on both my sets of knuckles. It won't be love and hate, it'll be stay yellow. Really simple guys, honestly. Even I can work it out, and I'm pretty dim. Right, up the road a little bit. Let's jump in with the bunch at the moment. Let's pick on Mr. Micklethwaite. Dave Micklethwaite, a member of the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, the DCG Gang. Dave looking pretty smooth. Dave, an experienced rider and looking really good in this pack. And great to see Dave working well in with the group. He knows the score, and this is exactly what we want to see. Look at the mob around Russ. The whole aim of this is basically pile on Russ. So you know when you were at school and you had like the kid that everybody really loved to pile on. It was usually me, in fairness, but now it's Russ. The aim is pile on top of Russ, get as close as you can, mob his avatar, crush him down. Don't let him go, and get as close to him as you can. If in doubt, get your hand in his back pocket, like you would in a road race if you're a bit of a dirty rider. The closer you get, the faster we get to go, because basically the group will move quicker. Real simple stuff. All the key guys know this. Everybody in here looks like Zach Hutchinson riding in and around. Just watching him go through. Looks like Phillips in here. Claire Gibson. Looks like Chris Iredale in here as well. Let's have a little bit of a look around these riders. Oh, look at this. It is indeed Chris. Let's take a little bit of a look. See if he's sartorially elegant or if he's like a sack on it. Oh, going for the grey and the orange. I can't imagine why. It might be because it matches the skin kit in the grey and orange there, and I'm sure he won't be having any issues with friction in the wrong department. So Chris riding quite strongly here, 60 revs per minute, 50 revs per minute. I think he's just taken a drink and not been able to grab the ball. Come on, Chris, pick the pace up, just because we're talking about you. So Chris on his way down, just dropping down the hill, just alongside, it looks like John Smith from the TS squad out of the saddle, and AD Dench is here. AD getting plenty of miles in practice. Now AD is going to be doing a ride, which is the Land's End to John O'Groats. He's doing it in real time. When he did it in real life, he did it in 4 days. He's going to be jumping on there, and is going to be doing the same thing but on Zwift, and we want everybody on the Donny Chain Gang to give him a shout out and help when that happens. Give him a wheel to follow on his way, clocking up those miles in Zwift. And don't forget, of course, you can donate to the charity, which is what AD's doing it for, mental health charity, in memory of his brother. And we've got to say a massive thank you to everybody who's supporting, particularly the guys at 1080, because we have Mr. Taylor of 1080, the head honcho of 1080, has donated a set of glasses for a highest bid, and the money from that all going to the charity. And a massive thank you to 1080, key supporters of the Chain Gang and sponsors of Oakley August, and of course keeping an AD Dench, keeping him up and riding and raising money as well. Now the pace looking to pick up a little bit here. We're just seeing quite a few of our riders at the back here just starting to feel the pace. It looks like Harrison Tacey sat in the right place, Pete Steed in here, Tunnicliffe is in this as well, Mr. Buzzard sitting and rolling around on the back. Looks like Riley is in here again. Riley making sure he's not too far off the wheels. Meanwhile, our Red Beacon group are on the way down here. And the Red Beacon, this is rather nice. Look at this. This is a proper Red Beacon group. This is the party bus in action. This is what we want to see. Big train being driven down here. Miss Cookie, Taylor, Foxy, looks like Vic Chavaria in here. All of the gang are moving really well down here. The guys are looking super smooth, and this is a chain gang in a chain gang here, and really are showing how it's done. Meanwhile, it looks to me like Dan Coleman towing at least one rider up. I think that's going to be Reenie, who's just being pulled back there, and that's what we want to see. Look at this, strong riders going back, helping the guys at the back. Mr. Coleman, you are a living legend, has to be said. That's what we want to see. Coleman going back and bringing the team all together. Brilliant to see Dan doing this, and if you're a strong rider, why not do it? This is a great way to get a great workout, and I'm sure Dan, when it starts to get spicy, will be giving it some beans to get up as near to the front as he can do. So a great pack here in the Red Beacon group, and they're just going to be heading straight on here as the main yellow beacon is a little bit further up the road. And let's just jump in with Russ. And looks like Russ is taking a little bit of cyclocross action there for Russ. He's been riding his Pinarello gravel bike out on the courses out around Nottinghamshire. Get a bit carried away there, Russ. That won't do your wheels any good. So looks like Russ just taking to the grass there. So Russ sitting in with this group as they come up the climb in towards the top of the hill here, and this pack all holding together. Looks like Craig Herring in here, Mr. Llewellyn in the group as well, Darren Billings in here, looks like Keith Richardson in here, looks like Hewitt in the group as well. Carl Kapinski's in here, just keeping an eye on all of these riders, just making the way through. Looks like a really nice pack in here, just in with Kujak. Good to see Vasia back in with us again, and just making the way in through the Italian villas, just quickly off the cobbles. Looks like Fred Gill sitting in this pack as well. Thorpe's in here, Pleasance is in here. Looks like Julie Leodis in the black with the pink Tron bike, just moving up. Claire Gagan on the right hand side of that pack, and looks like Gagan just moving up as well. So lots of our riders just sitting in and around Russ here, as we see Russ rolling his way, just moving up through a little bit further, just to go keep an eye on what's going on. So we are going to just keep our eyes on these riders. Let's take a little bit of a look. Looks like Brett here from Romford CC. Who is behind Brett? Is Brett the last rider in this bunch? He is. Now this is where things get interesting, because if you're at the back, you can't afford to let these gaps go. Mosley's moving up here, and as you can see, these riders all setting new fastest times through the sprint section here, and that is quite simply because it's the power of the DONNYCHAINGANG that is doing the business here. You can see it live on the group here, absolutely motoring the way through. These guys at the back getting some top flight times here, and this is what we want to see. The way to ride this is to start at the back and to make your way up through the group. If you go off the front, you won't get anywhere quick. Just taking a little look, it looks like Evie Steed is on the ride here. Good to see Evie in action, trying to keep on the chain gang and holding in with this group. They're going to need to close these wheels up. I think Neil from the Crosscast going to be taking up the chase here. Don't go, leave it to Evie. Meanwhile, looks like Sandy Smith just sitting in no man land's land. We're going to take a little bit of a check. He's normally a little bit further up the action and just sitting around about where Russ is. Looks like Altaf Hussein in the group, Thorny and co, all sitting in and around Russ, trying to get to Russ. You see just how many people are in this pack as we steadily move our way through. So just taking a little bit of a look at this split here. Looks like Russ sitting at the back. Sandy Smith just looks slightly off the back. Looks like Kushak just trying to get in a touch here. Who's with him? It looks like Tim Cooper trying to close that gap down. Come on, Tim, get pedaling or I'll rip the mickey out of you when you come around tomorrow. Tim, one of our tech guys on the gang, got to say a massive thank you to Tim Cooper, giving up his time as well as loaning us some equipment to make sure that the chain gang goes out to you and is in glorious Technicolor as well. Remember, of course, we are popping this out to you. It actually comes out in a 4K feed out to us, and we then push on from there. And as you can see, Sam Smith just seeing some riders just coming up. Brett from Romford looks like Thought making the way across. Walls a little bit further back. This group is working its way around. Meanwhile, Russ just a little bit further up. It looks like he's got Reese Wood sitting in the back of the group there. Reese getting a workout on the back of the group. You can see the gap behind him has opened up, and Reese has the pack just in front of him. So it looks like Riley just taking a little bit of a drift off as Reese sitting in at the back here. Reese, of course, riding for the Canyon DHB Sun God squad, is one of the super fast riders. We know he is definitely going to be a rider who could be in at the finish. Remember, we will only count from the Yellow Beacon group back. Anybody who is gone off the front will not be covered, will not be called as they come across the line. We will ignore the groups. We've done it before, we will do it again, quite simply because the chain gang is a structured workout. It's not a race. It often turns into one. In fact, it almost invariably turns into one, but that is only from the moment when Ross hits the button and ignites the burners and gives the signal. So just over half of the ride distance covered, 21.8k covered for Reese Wood at the moment, and looks like Reese just moving up a little bit here. Just going to keep an eye on these riders. Looks like Rob Wimble in here. Looks like Hardy's in the group as well. As you can see, just in with Richardson at the moment, in with this pack coming across from the bridge into one of the little islands that dot the way down, heading down in towards the tunnels and the descent down. As you can see, a real pack in here. Looks like Fiona Kesterman's in here, Stuart is in here, senior in this group, Eddie Dench in here, Alfie Atherton of the Cycling Academy, another boy to watch out for here, Jimmy Mack, of course, one of our key coaches, managers, supporters, keeping an eye on the boys when they're out and doing the business. Alfie Atherton in this group, and clearly riding nice and smoothly. Let's take a little bit of a zoom out. Looks like Bennett, another of our key supporters, a member of the DONNYCHAINGANG Supporters Club in here. And remember, without the Supporters Club, we cannot bring you the Chain Gang. It's dead simple. Without the support of our riders, the ride stops, the coverage stops. We can't do it without you guys. So a massive thank you from everybody who rides the gang, from Russ and myself, because without our key riders, our supporters of the DONNYCHAINGANG, the DCG gang, it just would not happen. It is really, really simple, and a big thank you from everybody who is out and riding, everybody who's watching as well. Don't forget, you can join, and it is really easy to join. You can join basically either on a monthly basis, just donate £20, and then we will be into the DCG Gang Supporters Club for a month, and you can pick up those quite easily. All the links on the Facebook page in the announcements. Don't forget, of course, you can always do it for a year, and that gets you the 12 months. And that then gets you 12 entries into the draw. In fact, at the moment, the draw for the jersey, which is Ben Swift's National Champs jersey, is going to be coming out, and it's going to be basically drawn based on membership at the end of February. If you have bought 1 month's membership at the end of February in the year, you will get 1 entry. If you've bought 3 months, say February, March and April, you'll get 3 entries into the draw. If you're a year member, you're going to get 12 entries into the draw, and if you want to increase those, you can always add, if you're a monthly rider, up to 12 months. Please remember though, guys, we will only be drawing from the members of the DCG gang, and it's the members of the DCG gang who get the links first. They get the insider information on the courses. They get the details coming direct to their email inbox. There's none of this having to register each ride. We know who they are. We know when they're on the ride. They're covered. Everybody else has to enter when it opens, which is usually sometime 24 to 36 hours before the ride. But our priority, obviously, are the guys who make the event happen, and they are the members of the DCG gang. If you want to join, make sure you get on there, get your membership in there. There's some fantastic deals on there. Pretty Gritty giving us 20% discount code for riders purchasing the kit, as well as giveaways, and some fantastic sustainable clothing going out from Pretty Gritty. We've also, of course, got OTE on board, and OTE with a fantastic discount to Grand Tour coffee, and loads more. And we've got plenty more coming up as well, but you need to be in it to win it, as the saying goes, and in it to get those discount codes. So please, guys, make sure you go on there, support the gang, and that basically will be when we are going to be pulling it now. Russ is in here on the yellow and the black Pinarello. Can't actually dive into Russ because he's actually being mobbed at the moment, which is exactly what we want to see. And looks like the 100 nearest riders to Russ just about all together here. We're just going to drop back a touch at the moment. It's looking pretty smooth in the group at the back. There's plenty of riders trying to hold on to Russ's wheel. Just seeing Claire Gagan in here. Claire, another of our regular riders on the gang, and just in the group. So remember, the yellow beacon is the front of the group. Anybody in front of Russ, riding from Russ, will not count, and we will not be calling them. So if you want to be in the cut, you need to be behind or with the yellow beacon. If you're in front of it and I don't see your name, or I see you being caught by the yellow beacon as he's gone, then you will not count in the overall. We will be watching. We do have people off the front of the group watching, and the go 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 has gone. We're in with Russ now. So Russ has said go go go, and this is the moment. He's hit the 6.2 watts per kilo, 6.8. who said Rusty's legs were tired, because all of a sudden he has absolutely ignited this. The burners have gone, they've got wings on the wheels. This is the run into towards the sprint, but my goodness, look how quick this group is moving already. And just jumping in with Jim Brown here. Jim Brown has set the record out on the course out in London when we were out with Chris Hoy last week, and Jim Brown was only a few seconds off the course record. Is Jim Brown going to be able to do it again, because he was super quick that day? Gareth Mason, of course, in theory taking the win, unfortunately, like many things, not proven. Now, this group are all pretty much together. We're just going to take a little bit of a check up here, because Jimmy Mack is here. Now, anybody in front of Jimmy Mack at the moment has got there by riding off the front. Oddly enough, we're not going to cover them. Camera time. Hello, you're on candid camera. You're all getting passed by the professional riders who play in the game. Just be a brief pause in commentary whilst we record all of the guys who can't read the screen. So just jumping in with the riders that we know have been in at the back of the group and have been working with the yellow beacon. And that is, of course, Russ Downing. Just riding in with Sandy Smith at the moment. Sandy, a regular rider on the Chaingang, riding well, and of course one of our regular riders in the gang. Always interesting watching the riders who have panicked, gone off the front, left the beacon behind, too insecure to sit in with the group. Very illuminating. Always very interesting. Fortunately, we have riders like Mr. Smith who can make their way up from the group. So it looks like Jim Brown, the Canyon rider, nicely sat in this group in the orange, white and black Strava kit here. Bostock is in here as well, the Canyon professional in with that group, riding nice and smoothly as they make their way down along the straight here. This course really is a tough route, and we're going to be watching to see who is going to be taking this out as they come in to the finish. Looks like Kieran Brown in this group. And Kieran, of course, we know a regular rider. I've got to say a massive thank you to Kieran Brown, who gave us a bit of a help out through the week. Much appreciated, mate. And looks like Kieran at the moment just rolling up onto the front. The Pine Cycles rider looking good at the moment. back rolling along. We're going to go take a look at the heroes of the chain gang, who are sat a little bit further back, and we're going to jump in with our beacon. And this is in with Andy Hawes. Andy, the beacon at the back here. He's got Dan Coleman for company. Looks like Vic Chavaria in here as well. So Vic in here, Dan Coleman just rolling around off the back of the group. So the guys on the way up towards the back. I think Chris from the Alliance MTB squad, that is Chris Heseltine James in there. Looks like Foxy up on the group there, just moving up towards the front of the group, and I think Foxy on the front of the pack at the moment. So it's Foxy on the front, then Chris Heseltine James, followed by Mr. Reaney in there, then it's Cookie, Singleton, Emma in there, the leader of the women's chain gang. Keep an eye out tomorrow, because the next 3 women's chain gangs are going to open tomorrow, and that's soon going to happen. And the guys who want to ride that, the women's chain gang women's Wednesdays, that's going to be happening very shortly. That's going to open up all 3. They're going to open it up tomorrow. Members of the DCG gang, keep an eye on your email boxes tomorrow for next week's links. Everybody else, you wait until next week, I'm afraid. Priority 1 are the people who make the gang happen. That is the members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club. So the Beacon group here, the Red Beacon group, are moving nicely on the way around. They're going to be onto the bridge very shortly. In they go. We'll just jump inside the glass, otherwise we get a really distorted image as we pop in and out. And as you can see, Andy Singleton just driving this group along. We're going to move up the road a little bit if we can, because I think it's going to be Taylor who's just up on the front here. Just going to keep an eye on how Taylor is doing, just on that descent down into the bridge, just slightly off the back there actually. So it's Brian Taylor, then Dan Coleman, and then just in front it looks like this is our group. We're going to have to just wait until they jump across the gap. The folds in the map, always a place where we can't jump from one group to the other. Otherwise what happens is we fall off the edge of the map. It's a bit like in the 18th century when they thought they'd fall off the end of a flat world. We kind of do that if we're not careful. Okay, so our riders are now across the gap, and that means, in theory, when it settles itself down, we are going to be able to jump in with a few of the riders just a little bit further up in front, and just in through the volcano. Looks like we're just in with Phil Jones here. So these riders just head out from the inside of the volcano there. So we've got Rob Kennison in here. We've got Jess in here. So Jess on the front at the moment. Let's just jump in with Rob. Rob's just a little bit further ahead of them, just on the descent here. So it looks like Rob Kennison about 23 seconds ahead of Phil Jones's group, just in with Jones at the moment. And Phil Jones just rolling on the way down the slope. I'm sure he's done that in real life. Are you sure you got the right weight in there? Is that reverse weight doping going on there, mate? So these guys are now on the descent. This is the little drop down that takes you down to the shoreline. And this group, a very compact group, which contains Martin Bolt, looks like David Hopkinson in this group as well, just riding in with Phil as they drop down. They're 23 seconds behind Rob Kennison. In front of Kennison is the remnants of the main group here, and as you can see, it is all absolutely scattered all the way out and round Watopia here. The fantastic work created by Zwift, taking these riders out and around the circuit. The rain just starting to fall, very reminiscent in the weather that we've had out in the South Yorkshire and around the North Derbyshire area today. Intermittent rain showers has been the order of the day, with some nice skies in between. Just jumping in with Stefano Borelli. Good to see Stefano out on the gang once again, and Andy Fraser in the group, Mason in this group as well, as they continue to push on here. Looks like Joe Jarvis in this group. Joe riding nice and smoothly, 77 breaths per minute, 186 beats per minute, and they're going to be coming into the sprint. If you take a look top right hand side of the map, you just see them on the way up and through. Let's jump in with Dick Samuel, who is one of our riders in the DCG gang. Let's see if he's going to put a bit of a push on about 300 watts at the moment. The rain really starting to fall here. Even in the tunnels, there's spray coming off the wheels. We're just in with Dick at the moment, sitting on the back of this group, and needs to hold those wheels. The gradient goes slightly downhill. Then we're going to be taking the right-hand turn, and Dick just sitting on the back of that. Come on, mate, keep those revs going. You've not got too far to go, I promise. Beatty then just in front, and we're going to jump in with Beatty as well as he goes chasing this group, and it's a big old pack that's started to form here. The groups are forming around onto that right hand turn. This group goes, it's looking absolutely flat out there. The rain coming down. I don't think anybody having a great day out at the office. Thunder and lightning, we have the lot here as this group takes the right hand turn. You're going to just jump in with Julie Leodis, one of our riders who is now on to the descent here. Just in front, we can just see there are riders scattered absolutely everywhere. The thunder and lightning coming down at the front of the beacon group, just a little bit further up in front. And looks like Alex Forrester pushing 4.2 watts per kilo on the downhill. Remember, if you're riding on Swift, the key with Swift is to push on the uphills as much as possible. That's where it makes the most difference, having the best power to weight ratio. Meanwhile, we're just going to jump in. It looks like that's Pete Steed in the group just in front. So just riding in with Pete. He is moving rather well. And just keeping that group nicely together. This is another great group here. We've got Shade in here, we've got Ian from Stelton, we've got Barry in here. Looks like Steve Hilbert's in this group just in front, I think. It is probably going to be the group with Kesteven in there. They're on this long downhill here, so Kesteven at the moment has got another group of riders around this group. This course really is pulling the riders together. And I think that is Kesteven, and I think Claire Gaskell in this, if I've got the right rider. It's Kat in here, sorry, apologies. So Kat Gaskell sitting on the wheel there of Kesteven, who's just rolling around just in front. Kai Hurst in his, looks like Hall's in this, Dej in here. Got the lot in this group. So let's jump up to Russ. He's a little bit further up the road, just on his way in and through the tunnels. So this is Russ down his group. We've got George Cooper, Simon McNamara in here. Looks like Fred Gill's in here. Harrison Tacey in this group as well. So you can see the helicopter unable to ride with the guys at the moment. So Russ continuing, the heart rate looks to be pretty static for Russ, just sitting down at the 131 beats per minute. It looks like Matt Winston in this group. Kuslug's in here as well. George Cooper sitting on the wheels here. Who else in this rather elite group? Looks like Sam Emsley in here. Riders are looking good in this group. So the group are moving well here together as we're under the tunnels. Just in with Harrison Tacey, Matt Winston in here as well. Tony Gliff in this group. The group in front containing Sandy Smith. Sandy, of course, in with Russ, just heading up towards the climb here. One or two riders just in front. So just running up, looks like Warren on his way up the hill. in with Ewan McLeod at the moment. It looks like Matt Bostock in this group. Kieran Brown in here as well. Mike Gilmore in the group. We know Matt will have played the game on the run in and through. Always one of our riders who we know will stay with the leaders, with Russ as they come in. Same with Bostock, will stay with the Yellow Beacon. Looks like Gareth Mason is in this group, and again Mason, another of our really fast riders, and we're just trying to get in with the riders here who are going to be kicking on to the finish. It looks like there's some serious watts per kilo coming out at the front here. Just going to go up. It looks like it is going to be Mason who just gets that. Mason and Matlock go through. Archie Allen, Hutchinson, Riley in there, Reese in as well. Matt Gilmore putting in a good ride. So we're going to try and drop back through this group to try and get out of the back to the next group out on the road. This is our next group out on the road. Is it going to be Tacey who's going to take this out? He's definitely one of our fast and aggressive riders. Has he got the sprint in his legs? We're going to see. He's putting in the aero boost at the moment. He's trying to work his way up to the front. He's at 7.7 watts per kilo. He knows it's going to come here. Just putting it into the red. He's in the 8.3s there. There are a couple of people just off the front, and including Jimmy Mack just at the front. Tacey's trying to close him down. In fact, Tacey's eating up the ground like there is no tomorrow. He's going to absolutely blast past these riders who have been shoved from the very front group here. And Tacey, with Smith behind him, goes through and takes that. So Tacey goes through. Then it's Mod coming through. And looks like Joel Davis, Simon McNamara in the group, Claire Gibson, Russ on his way in through as part of that group. We're going to just drop our way back in this group. And Russ coming through to finish their super fast finish on the run-in. We're with what looks to be the next group on course. So just in with Liam Callaway. Liam, of course, another of our regulars on the gang from the word go. A member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, one of the key people who make the Chain Gang happen. Without people like Liam, the gang doesn't exist at the moment. On a good kick here, not quite enough to come through the finish in front of everybody else. Billy Noah and Mace just at the road, but everybody pushing on as they come underneath the gantry. Hopefully get a great workout on the way through. We're trying to drop back as fast as we can so these riders come in and through the finish. There is a group just up the road. We just got to just try and drop in with the riders. A super fast run in and through here, and just keeping an eye. We're just in with Colclough at the moment. Looks like Colclough again improving week on week. We keep seeing Colclough right up with that front group. The riders are going to be hammering in to the finish here. Really quick run in. We're in with Rich Orrell, one of our fantastic members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club. And got to say a massive thank you to everybody who is a member. So Rich keeps on pushing his way in to the finish. Great riding by Rich there, getting his timing right as he came in and through the finish. And we're going to try and drop back a touch here. Looks like it's going to be McDermott who's going to lead this out. I think just going to try and get in the air. Smith pushing on hard. Rapinski as well. Looks like Ailey Gilbert in the gang there, and Gilbert coming through. Ailish Gilbert, one of our fantastic riders, another member of the DCG gang. As we continue to watch these riders, I think they're already well out and round circuit. We have to drop back some serious amount of time here. Looks like we may well be heading back to our fantastic Yellow Beacon. That is Andy Halls. Quite simply because it's the only way we can get back into the ride. So just in with Halsey, we're going to take a little bit of a run up the road, try and catch up with the riders on the way in to the finish. So all these riders still in the run for the finish. If our riders keep on going through, we have to try and stay with them as long as possible. But that's one of the reasons that we have the overrun as our riders come in to the finish. So just watching Kestevan's clearly finished here. Mason just on his way in to the finish. Big sprint here by Mason, just coming through just in front of Street. Looks like Alex Forrester in there as well. Berry in the hunt here. Berry working hard to go through just in front of Kai. And then just going to watch Mr. Hall on his way in. Our next rider heading towards the line. And looks like just pushing on. John Paul Wheater in this group. John Paul, one of our members of the gang. I'm going to see John Paul in this group. Looks like Kiernan and Julie Leodis, another of our new members of the Donny Chain Gang, the DCG gang, the supporters of the Donny Chain Gang, helping make it all happen. And just in with Julie, but now 9.7, 9.9 watts per kilo. Big kick there on the way in. Just in with Rob Carling, who's going to lead in our next group ahead of Thorpe. Then it's going to be Ted and Hopper. Just dropping back to the Barnsley barrel as he comes in through the line. Toyne is going to run in ahead of Joe Jarvis. Lone Rider looks like Robinson coming through. And then hopefully we've got Harworth and then Oliver. We're going to keep a little eye on these guys because this, I think, is going to be our next group. We're going to just double check because looks like there's a few people just going over the fold of the map. Surprise, surprise. So just in here, we're going to drop in with Oliver because I think Oliver is going to be our next rider to finish here. So Oliver continuing to push in to the line, soloing in here, 212 watts, 80 revs per minute. And just watching Oliver push in Mason and then Cooper behind. I think Mason's going to be on their own. So in and underneath the gantry goes Oliver. Here in Zwift as Oliver comes in through the line there. Good riding by Oliver. We're going to drop back to Mason. Mason's going to be our next rider who's going to come into the finish. And Mason here in Watopia comes up to the gantry. So great riding by Mason. In and through the line. He goes behind then. This is the big group behind now. You can rely at least on Beatty to sprint. I think we're going to see Tim Cooper putting in a sprint. Craig Herring is bound to sprint for this, but look at this. Beatty's gone early and Beatty could have him here because it's not far to the line. Beatty's gone early and Beatty holds off Herring with some very fishy timing. They're not able to make his way through the line at the right time. So we are just going to try and drop back to the gang behind and then work our way sort of forwards and upwards. It sounds really tricky. That's quite simply because it is. So we are going to be looking for our next riders on the way into the finish. And I think if we take a little look up the road, I think Dick just coming in. Just, oh, look at that timing is everything. Dick Samuel coming in and through to finish. Behind then it's going to be our next group here. Thorpe nicely in the group. It looks like Evie Steed and Sonia Inslee in here. And I think Insley's got the front as they come in on the run in towards the finish. It's going to be Inslee followed by Evie Steed behind, though. You can see Waller and Thorpe are pushing, but that's the order as they come over the line. Inslee, Steed, Waller and Thorpe, the next riders in and through. Now, I know that Rob Kennison is likely to sprint for this, but Neil is not going to mess about either. We're just in with Rob Kennison. Kennison, of course, part of the team that brings you the Tour of Britain. News, of course, that the Women's Tour just postponed into October. So Rob Kennison, Jess Evans and Neil from the cross car coming in and through. Then it's Langley coming through. So our next rider in and through the line is going to be Langley. Then it's going to be Bennett from Sheffield trying to stay clear of Spedding behind at about 2 seconds. So not a lot to separate these riders, and Spedding has got a bit of a kick on here. Has he got enough to close the gap? That is the question. Spedding coming fast. Oh, they're coming fast enough. Is Spedding going to get rolled on the line? This is going to be close. And look at this. Spedding comes past. Oh, just gets him. And that shows you've got to keep an eye on what is happening behind you. Now in with our next group. Just in with Day at the moment. And Day sitting in this group, one of our bigger riders, and clearly got some serious power just in the forearms alone. If only I had that much power in my legs on the way through. So at the moment, Darren Billings in here. We have got Day in here as well. Phil is in. Phil Jones from Brother. We've got to say a big thank you to Phil, of course, for helping us and helping all cycling out over the years. A key man when it comes to a key company in terms of sponsoring riders and teams, and looking forward to being able to see those teams in real life. So Darren Billings coming through there just ahead of Martin Boat in the Peugeot kit, then Phil, then Dave Kushak coming through as well. We're just going to drop back to our next rider. That's going to be Hopkinson. So Hopkinson, the next rider, heading in towards the finish. Some fast times out there on the chain gang. So it's Hopkinson pushing on here, and Hopkinson is going to be our next rider through the line. Nice chase, mate, by the way. Looking good. I just thought you must have got those from 1080. Right, next rider, Brett from Romford. We saw Brett working hard a little bit earlier on in the ride. Let's have a little look. 187 beats per minute. That's some serious beats going on there. 188. Pushing in for the finish here, and going to come in under the gantry here in Watopia, just ahead of Common. We said Common could accelerate up as we came into the finish. Hero of the chain gang, definitely spirit of the chain gang, man capable of keeping it in with the front group and just helping riders behind. Then it's going to be Lisa Jane Late, aka Foxy, and Foxy on the way into the finish. Another great ride by Foxy, really pushing on from that group behind. Then this is the group that was with the red beacon. So this is going to be Andy Singleton in the red on the Tron bike. Chris Heseltine, James behind. Then you can see it's Miss Curie, followed by Vic Chavaria, and it looks like Mr. Reedy. Good ride, Mr. Reedy. Good ride indeed. Staying with the gang there. Exalted Company out on the gang. And Vic, you said you were only going to ride a little bit. Clearly got hooked yet again. To staying in with the group. So good riding by Vic Chavaria and all of the gang as they come in and through the line there. And as you can see, back on the chain gang, it always works. It's far too addictive as Vic Chavaria comes in and through the finish. Now, in with our next riders heading in to the finish. We're just going to keep an eye. I think it is going to be Dre. So Dre looking pretty smooth on this ascent, 166 beats per minute. And you just see the Ferris wheel and the pier where our riders started out in the background, the running track out on Zwift just to the side there. As up in to the top comes the riders. So let's take a little bit of a look. So Dre riding nice and smooth on the way down to the finish here. Got one or two riders behind. I think a few people dropping back to help others out on the course. Dre now coming around in towards the finish. Our next rider out on course. And it's going to be Dre, our next rider to finish here. So Dre now into the final run down the tower blocks of downtown Watopia, just coming in through our drone cutting in through the on-ramp where our riders join the course, and taking the gantry goes Dre. So Dre, our next finisher here on the Beach Island loop of Zwift. Meanwhile, I think we've got Darren Topless and Taylor out on course. So riders are making their way in to the finish. Please remember, guys, it's really important to join the DCG gang. If you don't do that, we can't keep the ride coming to you. Make sure you give your support to the people who look after us as well in terms of our supporters. People like Pretty Gritty, Grand Tour Coffee, OTE, Struggle Events. We've had a great February with them. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots more giveaways coming up, including Ben Swift's National Champs jersey. This is the fourth to last ride, because, of course, we've got 3 next week. We've got Women's Wednesdays, and the details of the Rise the Links are going to open tomorrow. If you're a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, don't forget, check your emails tomorrow. You are going to find links to everything starting to come your way really early. Of course, you are priority one in the DCG gang because, of course, you are the guys who keep us on the road, keep the show on the road, you keep the coverage coming, and of course you help Russ and me keep everything together. Got a really busy day coming up tomorrow, including, I think, a visit from Mr. Tim Cooper, who's going to come to do some tech sorts for us to do a little bit of analysis on the kit. Looking forward to that, and no doubt we'll be catching up on what has happened out on the ride. In the meantime, here comes Darren Topless, a key man, and it comes to riding round Pines. And of course, Darren Topless from Pine Cycles, a regular on the gang, and Darren in and through the gantry, which leaves us Taylor out on course in that brown camo jersey. Taylor just coming past the turning for the climb, and you can see that bridge in the distance. As he comes down into town, he's going to have that long line up for the finish, coming down underneath the bridge from the pier where we started 38.9k ago. Might even be able to say it if I'm not careful. So on his way down goes Taylor, looking smooth here, 39k covered, and going to be in underneath the finish line pretty quickly. So a real fast one today, some really fast riding by the riders out on the chain gang, and great to see all of our riders putting in some personal best times on the way round. Taylor's going to be our next rider in and through the finish, so a massive thank you to everybody who's been out and riding. So as Taylor comes in and through, it just leaves me to say a massive thank you to all of our riders. It's been a great day out on the course. Don't forget, of course, get on to all of our supporters, all the guys who make the chain gang happen. From Russ, from myself, Matt Payne, a massive thank you, guys. We will see you after the weekend. You never know, we might even see you out on some real roads if we're not out on some of the spin-off rides. Get those pictures posted on Facebook. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on the Donny Chain Gang here live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel.